Hey Tamar, care to join me? Hi Jaffa Road, are you Tamar?
No, I'm Tamar.
Hi.
Hey, Leah. What's up?
Okay, so should we wait or should we just start?
We should just start.
Okay, so my name is Leah Grainger. I'm a producer with Fab Collab and part of the team that puts together all of the amazing projects that we do. And we're here today to kick off a new series. This is Tamar Ilana. She's joining me today. Care to introduce yourself, Tamar?
Sure, I'm Tamar Ilana, co-founder of Fab Collab with Leah, Ali, and a few others that you'll meet along the way. And also flamenco dancer, singer. And we're here starting off Curtain Call, our interview series focusing on women in the performing arts industry.
Yeah, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be inviting different performers, but also different women that work in various areas of the performing arts industry, help supporting artists. Yeah, so we're starting off today because we are both artists ourselves, and that's kind of been the impetus to starting Fab Collab. So we're going to be hosting it, and we're going to be taking turns and chatting
Yay.
with different women. But
Hi,
today
Tamar.
we're going to interview
Tamar?
each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe I'll start off by asking you, Tamar, how you identify yourself as an artist. Like, what's your title? Who are you?
Oh, we're going right there.
Yeah.
Deep off the top. Um, I guess that's like the eternal question. But I self-identify. Hi, Ali. Hi, Tamar. I self-identify as a singer first and foremost, and also a flamenco dancer. I sing in about 20 languages, and I grew up on the road with my mother, who's an ethnomusicologist, and hence all the different languages and the different styles. And now with Fab Club, now we're presenting arts organizations, so a presenter. And my background is Indigenous on my dad's side with some Romanian and some Scottish in there. And then on my mom's side, Ashkenazi Jewish from Northern Europe. So what about you?
Well, so I'm a flamenco dancer. I'm from Vancouver, and I also am a journalist and a writer, podcast producer. But yeah, as a performing artist, I'm a flamenco dancer, and yeah, it's kind of I'm not the typical representation of a flamenco dancer, I would say.
Why not? What's the typical representation?
Well, I think like very traditionally, I spent the last 5 years living in Spain, and before that, going there a lot when I wasn't living there full time. And I'm sure, especially for people that maybe don't know that much about flamenco, there is this sort of like stereotypical image of a flamenco dancer or a flamenco performer, which is Spanish usually. So they're kind of, physically different than me. I'm 6 foot, pushing 6'2". I'm
Hello.
blonde, like of Polish descent mostly. So yeah, so it's like it can be it's not exactly what you would expect. And living in Spain and studying there has been like an interesting journey. I think a lot of world music artists in Canada, um, it's such a mixed culture here, and we end up many of us find an art form that isn't necessarily our own, and so we end up pursuing something like that becomes our lives that isn't necessarily ours. So yeah, so it was very interesting
Hmm.
living in Spain and living like amongst this sort of flamenco culture, but coming from the outside.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you about. Oh, hey, Ariane. How are you doing? Hi, guys. Thanks for joining today. Um, yeah, actually did want to ask you about that. So can I ask you about that right now? Because we're kind of
Please,
interviewing each other today, so I'm not sure who's going to start which.
you go for it.
So that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. So part of this interview series, for those of you joining and for those of you watching later, is women in the industry, in the performing arts industry, primarily music and dance for starters, and also like struggles that we face and overcome in our career. And I guess, Leah, that would for you be a 6 foot flamenco dancer living in Spain. Tell me, how did you overcome that?
Yeah. I mean, definitely there's been, walking into class and everybody there being sort of having being very physically different than me. And I've definitely like got a lot of looks. And then as a dancer, like physicality is really important. So there's a lot of movements in flamenco. You go to class and you're basically copying the teacher. And if your arms are like so long and like a piece of spaghetti, it's like creates a different look. So I definitely like I've spent a lot of time like in the studio by myself, like trying to copy exactly what my teacher was doing and trying to make myself look that way. And the reality is that like it just wasn't possible. You can't
Exactly.
do that because it's just not what I look like, and that's
Mm-hmm.
not how I move. So I think I've been dancing for like 15 years, and I think over that time it's sort of I've realized that I had to find my own sort of like dance vocabulary and like create my own movements and sort of create my own art form in a way, because I was never going to fit that mold. And the thing that's cool about flamenco is that it's different than maybe some more dance forms that are taught more formally, because like there is like room for everybody. Like
Mm-hmm.
things are done in different ways and people do create their own styles. And also in Spain right now, there's people from all over the world that are studying flamenco there. It's become very popular internationally, and there's like aficionados like myself and professionals and performers like myself who have gone there to learn and who look like everything and who have taken it to a very like contemporary, interesting place. But that was like a really long journey and something that I'm always exploring.
I mean, I think that's an ongoing journey for sure. I feel exactly the same way with flamenco singing. I tried so hard to be exactly like all my teachers, and then I realized like that's impossible, and you have to incorporate and develop your own style otherwise. And that's also kind of like the whole point of flamenco in a way, right? How to interpret,
Mm-hmm.
make them your own.
What's
But
it been like for you as somebody that sings in like so many different languages and takes on so many different styles, that some of them you might have like a background in, but a lot of them you obviously don't? Is that something that like people push back on at all with you?
definitely all the time. I get pushback from presenters, especially in North America, that are like, you don't fit the right check boxes. Basically, they tell me like you're born in Canada and you sing flamenco, or you're born in Canada and you sing music from the Jews of Turkey, and you're Jewish but you're not Sephardic Jewish, and all sorts of pushback. But really, like that's the way. That's what I grew up in. That's what I was immersed in. And these are really oral cultures, so
Mm-hmm.
I've learned them orally. So there's really like it is me. So no matter how you look at it, it is me and it is my life and my life's work. And I always, always, always approach everything that I sing and perform with the utmost respect, and always studying with the greatest masters you can possibly find in the world, and immersing yourself in the culture and talking to them. And you know what? The interesting thing is that I don't know if you find this, but the people from the actual cultures themselves tend to be really great, like honored and thankful that you're so interested in their culture and in their music, that you're going to study with them and learn it, and honor that music and art form. It's often people from not those cultures that have a
Mm-hmm.
hard time with you doing it. That's kind of like what I've found over the years. But the only way to keep going and doing it is to just do what you love, and always speaking to the people from the cultures, consulting, asking permission, and talking to them, and doing your best to treat everything with respect. And that's like really the only way forward. And I'm sure in this series we're going to touch on that a lot. So I'll leave that door open because we're
What do
inviting.
you tell people when they're like, when they're perhaps like pushing back and telling you that like you doing this thing isn't right? Like, how do you justify it?
Yeah, such a good question. I feel like I justify it. First of all, that it's just how I grew up. Like it's kind of like, how do you justify when you speak multiple languages? Like you learn them as a child. It's just what was spoken in your surroundings, and that is how I grew up. So my mother's an ethnomusicologist, as I mentioned. I'm sure we'll have her on here as well at some point. And her life's work and journey continues to be going and studying and honoring these cultures. And a lot of the songs that she would learn and teach me when I was a kid are songs from people that were very old, like in their 90s, 100 years old, and they were going to die with those songs. And a lot of the songs that she would learn would be to learn those songs, to preserve them and teach them to me, and then we would perform them to keep the songs alive and the traditions alive, with the respect and with the sort of with, how can I say, like with the endorsement, I guess, or like the approval or the support of these people that we learn and cultures that we learned the songs from, and never without that. So I think that's like a key thing. Like I wouldn't just go and sing a song from, you know, China, which is a culture of I don't know much about. I've never been there, and I wouldn't just go and randomly sing a song without and saying I'm an expert in it without really being that and really going and talking to people. So I think that's maybe the difference. I'm not trying to use these songs to like, I mean, this is the conversation between appropriation and appreciation, right? So there's no,
Yeah. Well,
it's
it
like,
sounds like they are. It is also like a part of like your own story.
yeah,
You know, you did
yeah,
grow up with it, even though you might not have been born into it.
yeah,
Whereas
exactly.
I just picked it up when I was 20.
Yeah, but you've also gone to Spain and you have studied for
Totally.
a master's
Yeah.
and you're
And
an
the thing you say is very true, where it's like when I interview people about, when I
I guess
interview people,
comment below what you think about these topics as well. We'd love to hear what people think about this and people's opinions and thoughts. For
yeah,
sure.
it's like when I'm talking to people that are the performers and the artists, it's like they are grateful that somebody, because like there are lots of Spanish people don't have the same interest that they used to in this art form, and it's like a lot of people from other places that have taken up the mantle.
People in the north are like not impressed with the fact that flamenco is used to represent, you know, the whole country when
Yeah.
they don't identify with that as their art form. So yeah, definitely a big topic. But I want to say, do you have any, I also want to ask you, like, if you have any tours or anything coming up that were canceled or that you're postponing? Because you also said that you're a touring artist, professional artist. Just during these times, we gotta touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I fortunately didn't have a tour plan this summer. I've toured for the last 7 years, but we were taking a break this year anyways, which was such a stroke of luck. So I didn't miss out on that. But I am in the middle of creating a new show called La Forastera, which means the outsider. And
Okay.
it's basically about all of this. So um, it tells a story with like projections and graphics and words, because I'm also a writer, about what it's been like to decide to take on this art form that isn't mine, and to go and live somewhere that isn't, and live in a culture that isn't mine, and do the thing that is most associated with that culture, and what that experience has been like for me, and how I've kind of tried to make it my own. And so it's
And where are you?
more of a narrative show than in the past. I've done really traditional flamenco, and it's kind of just been like go out, music, dance. And this is more my own project where I'm actually trying to tell a story, tell my own story.
I can't
So
wait.
hopefully that will happen once we're allowed to get out in front of people again. I'll
Is
I'll
it a
be
solo
sharing
show or
that.
is it a full-on production?
Sorry?
Is it a solo show or a full-on production with the team and crew and stuff?
No, it's like a full-on production, but starring me.
As it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's been, and you know, because of COVID, it's been really hard to work with other people, but because there's all these other aspects to it, like I'm writing it and I'm like building the video and that kind of thing, there's still stuff to do. So hopefully once all of this winds down, I'll be able to share that.
Amazing.
How about you?
I mean, this is what we're doing. Fab Collab. Go guys, go check out fabcollab.ca. And Leah and I and some others have been involved in co-founding Fab Collab during, and it's evolved from COVID actually. Just so many, you know, people are so open to collaboration right now, more so than ever, I find, because of, you know, we're all in our little worlds, or I'm sure there's many reasons, but the result of reaching out to people in the past 6 months and talking to them and different artists, the result has been founding this organization called Fab Collab, which is focused on collaboration, on underrepresented minority voices, female artists, LGBTQ community, BIPOC artists, and everyone that really, you know, deserves and is like a bigger stage and a bigger platform. And we want to work towards that and have people collaborating from all different backgrounds, which is like also what you can find really in Toronto, where we live in Toronto, Canada. And we really want to highlight that, focus that, and promote as many people as we possibly can from different backgrounds. So actually, if you have any suggestions or artists that we don't know, send them our way and put us in touch. And we're open to all forms of collaboration, and we just want to hear from everybody. And in terms of touring and stuff, obviously that's off the books. I'm supposed to go to Korea, Europe, and all these places. It's all postponed till who knows what. But that's okay, because it gives us, you know, another doorway into a whole other world. So I think before we go, and they're going to be here every week. For those of you who are just smiling, Darlene, hello, D Grimes. Hi guys, thanks for joining. So we're going to be here.
You can see my house now.
LA. We're going to be here every week at 12 p.m. Toronto time, so 12 p.m. EST. Every Wednesday, either Leah or I will be interviewing a different woman in the music and dance industry and getting a bit of their life and struggles they might have overcome in their career and a little bit of, sneak peek live performance. So we've come to the performance section. And Leah, what are you going to do for us?
I'm going to do, I don't know if you can see me. I'm just going to do a little patadita. So like in flamenco, there's a palo called bulerías. I don't have music, so I'm just going to be improvising a little bit.
I could sing live for you, but it's just impossible.
I know. Well, you could.
It'll be like, okay. It will be fuera. You want me to sing it?
Ready? You sing and clap and I'll dance.
Okay, so I have to ignore your rhythm and you'll follow mine.
Yeah.
Como mi parejita no, que gitana tengo que, como mi parejita no, ay, gitana tengo que ser. Vale, vamos allá.
Now you.
Are you gonna sing for me?
No.
All right. I don't know if you guys can see me either, but
Hey. Hey. Ole.
Ole. Thanks so much, guys, everyone, for joining. Anna Bana 9. Oh yeah. I think I might have frozen.
I'll just say one other thing is that basically we are working on a number of different projects with Fab Club. So we put on a festival.
Sorry.
We put on I'm just saying the things that we're doing so far with the group.
Awesome.
So we put on a festival with CBC in August where we had 6 different female artists performing online. And we're working on putting together a web series that will feature different artists as well in collaboration with other artists of different genres and sort of mixing things together. And we have a bunch of different ideas, but we're really open to hearing what people need, what artists need right now. So we're going to be back every week at noon.
And who you'd like to see featured?
Sorry, Tamar, you're freezing. Okay, I'll finish it off. We're going to be back every week, Wednesday at noon, and it'll be either me or Tamar speaking with different musical artists from around the world. So we look forward to seeing you next week.
And next week will be Aline Morales from Brazil, talking about Afro-Brazilian music, maracatu, and her role in that music. Amazing. Here in Canada.
So we'll see you next week.